Welcome back to the Expert Scale Show. I'm joined today by my good friend and webinar and challenge marketing legend, David Simons. What's up, dude? Welcome to the Expert Scale Show. Glad to have
Wha-
you.
What's going on, my brother? Good to see you, Richard. Appreciate you having me on. Truly an honor.
Bro, I love your background. You've got like half a banner going on promoting what you guys do, and then there's just like this really beautiful painting in the background. Where are you right now?
So I'm at home right now, right? I'm in Philadelphia, but I keep a painting on the wall with me and my wife, and it just reminds me of what I do this for.
Ah,
Family.
I should have recognized her actually. Now that you say that, I'm like, oh, duh, of course. That's who it is. We were
Indeed.
just in Punta Cana together. I
Yes,
saw her
sir.
there.
Yes,
That's
sir.
hilarious. I just didn't know. I'm like, is that some sort of like famous painting? Like, what's going on back there?
Yeah, I'll have to break it down, man. It's actually something hidden in the background if you
Oh
can
yeah,
kind of
there it
see.
is. We got to get you more of a wide angle shot. But it probably
Yeah,
actually is there. I just can't see it on the screen right now.
yeah.
Well, we're gonna have fun today. You guys, one of the things I really like about you and why I was so excited to bring you in front of our community is you guys do something very unique. All of us know, right? Webinar attendance is down, conversions are down. A lot of people pivoted to a challenge model. I would say a couple years ago that really rose in prominence. In fact, funny enough, there's an offline story I can tell you sometime. But I was kind of I was deeply involved in the back end of when that rose to prominence, and so I got to see a real inside look at that. And what's been interesting though is even that strategy, sometimes filling those challenges has gotten harder, especially for experts who maybe they're running their first challenge or they really just haven't cracked the code and kind of unlocked scale. And so what you guys are doing behind the scenes is so fascinating, and I'm really excited to dig into it and kind of learn from some of the really cool, incredible results you guys have gotten for your clients. So I'll just do the quick intro for anybody who doesn't know you. You've been in the marketing game for a long time. You've served so many clients across a ton of industries. You guys have generated, 8 figures and more in sales for your clients, and so that's who David Simons is. And you run Kingdom's social media, and you guys also have, I think, a couple other partner brands. And so, I guess, man, where I would love to start today is talk to me a little bit about why the webinar to challenge model is so effective. Like, give people just out the gate a little bit of insight into the unique way you guys fill these huge challenges and drive these, massive 6, 7 figure days for your guys' clients. Talk to me about that.
Absolutely. So I totally believe that one thing that is never going to change is the fact that business is done at the speed of trust.
Mm,
And when you know that, you understand that business has to go through trust. And we know the phrase people do business with who they know, like, and trust. We hear that all the time. Well, what's the fastest way to build trust online? There's a hierarchy that I've kind of put together, and maybe I'll somehow send it to you guys for people that view this later. But it's a hierarchy that breaks down, and we have at the bottom of that hierarchy is text. Text is email, is copy, it's what you read. Then above that is pictures. That's why you have a picture is worth 1,000 words. Picture
mhm.
is stronger level than text because you get more visualization. And as you go higher and higher in the hierarchy, you're using more senses. Above pictures is audio, and that's audio that's recorded audio. So things like a podcast that's higher than text or pictures. And then above that is live audio, like Clubhouse or live radio. Excuse me, I'm battling a little cough here. And above and live audio, that means that you get to hear the person. If they cough like I did, they hear you hear that. There's no editing. It's real. It's live. Then above that is video. Video is pre-recorded. It could be ads or automated webinars and things of that nature. And then above that is live video at the very top. So live video includes webinars, it includes challenges, it includes live streaming. Why is this the highest level? Because it's the most authentic level. You have to be you can't hide who you are when you're on a
Mm.
webinar, and live especially or a challenge, and people get to see who you are. So I want to start there because it's the hierarchy that causes the whole reason why we do a webinar to challenge model. So to now break that down, we use a webinar because most people as Anna always affectionately says, that there's a trust recession, right? So a lot of people are not trusting people, even if they have the means, if they have the ability to take advantage of your offers, they're still not sure if the person's real or legitimate. So when you do a webinar, right, what happens is you do a webinar. Most people do a webinar and sell a course that's anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000. But when we do a webinar, we do a webinar that sells a challenge ticket, which is completely contrary. Why would you do a webinar to sell something for $297, $97, or even $97? It makes no sense. So it actually throws the market for a loop. Like, wow, you give me all this value and I'm not gonna get a course. I'm actually gonna get a live 5-day experience with you. And it's gonna be for 200, $300. Sign me up. Right. So that's the first component of it. It's counterintuitive. It's not
Mm.
what you do with the webinar. Webinars are designed to sell courses and programs that are a little bit higher price than that. So then when we take people from the webinar experience to the challenge, you already have built some trust with me, and now we're going into the challenge environment where we just expound on that trust. So now we know from doing challenges, the people that convert the most are the people that buy VIP tickets. On our webinar, we only sold VIP tickets. We don't even sell a general admission ticket. We downsell a general admission ticket after we've done all the live sales on the VIP. Now, when people buy into the challenge, now they're on the challenge. And we do a set. This is the formula we do. We do 3 to 4 webinars and 1 challenge. So you do 3 or 4 webinars, you're filling it up. Let's just say we get, I'm just throwing in a number, 20 to 30 people per webinar. Now we have a challenge with 100 and something people, but it's not what most people do. Most of their challenges are filled with either free or low ticket buyers. They're not filled with VIP buyers. We fill our challenges with VIP buyers, which is a big difference. Now, when they are the VIP buyers, we understand this concept too. Now we kind of add this level of trust. We add in the principle from Google's research, the 11-7-4 principle, which means 11 hours. 11 interactions, 7 hours, and 4 different channels is what you need to take somebody from cold to purchase. So the challenge model, with our model, we do 1 hour VIP, one general admission session. That's 2 hours each day. You're at 10 hours in 5 days, not including homework. If they're doing the homework, they're probably spending the hour with us in their mind, not including any pre content we've sent for them to watch of our own videos, our own YouTubes. So there's
Mm.
no way that somebody won't leave with at least 7 hours of trust built. They'll leave with shoot, by day 2, they've probably already had 50 interactions with emails, text messages, Zoom, and all of those things. And then the 4 channels, Zoom, Facebook, um, email, text, right? We converse with them in 4 different ways. So that's essentially just the kind of psychology behind it. So that's why we're able to have kind of a different level of result than most with webinars and challenges, because we're understanding the trust dynamic.
Love the way you just wove in Google's research and the trust hierarchy into the webinar to challenge model.
Yes,
And
sir.
I think it's really unique what you said about filling your challenge with VIP buyers, right? Because I've seen a lot of challenges that actually can hit big numbers, but they do it off of primarily free entrants. And that's a
Yes,
lot actually to manage in order to get down to the the small percentage of people who will actually buy. I love that you're pre-screening on the front end because it probably allows you to deliver a much better challenge, right? A much
yes,
better, more immersive, more customized experience, I would imagine, with a smaller handful of people. I like that.
absolutely.
That's really
Yes, sir.
cool.
Yes, sir.
So, what would you say over the last few years? So, let's say I'm someone who I've done challenges before, I've done webinars before, but maybe they're not working as well. What are some of the things you've seen change over the last, let's just say, 3 to 5 years? And what are you guys doing to adapt to those changes?
Mm, yeah. So before, when people did webinars, you could teach on pleasure. And today, you need to teach from pain. I'll explain what I mean by that. Before, you could come into cold marketing, or especially warm, but cold marketing with, "Hey, I'm going to show you how to make your first 6 figures online." Like, there was a lot of content. So the reason why webinars, a lot of people feel like they don't work, is a lot of people have gone the route of pleasure. Like, I'm gonna help you lose 50 pounds in 30 days. I'm gonna help you make 6 figures. I'm gonna help you do all of these things. But again, we have to understand the majority of the market, the skeptical meter is way high. So people are skeptical more than ever now. And if you're going to lead with the pleasure, just that from the gate sets people off. 90% of the webinars I see do that. They
Mm,
talk about the pleasure. What we do is we go the opposite direction. We talk about the pain from the very gate. For example, say I want to help somebody in real estate, five ways to get your first property in your first investment property. We're going to go the other way. 5 mistakes stopping most people from getting their first investment property. That seems like a subtle
mm,
difference, but it's a big difference. And that's our nuance. We teach from pain. Here's what I believe, right? I give the example that if I'm hurting, sorry, let me start it again. Let me preface it like this. If I have $100 bills and I'm waving them in New York City and Manhattan, I'm just waving $100 bills and trying to hand them out to people. People will be like, "Why are you giving me $100? I don't trust you. Why would I trust you for the give you the $100 bill?" They're going to be skeptical. They might not take. Most people won't take the money. Now, say that same person that skeptical of me falls down, hurts themselves, they're bleeding, their knee is wound open, and they're bleeding. And I say, "Hey, do you need some help?" It's like, "Yes, yes, please help me." I'm like, "Okay, here's a towel. I'm gonna dab your knee. All right, give me your phone. I need your phone. Okay, cool. What's your code to your phone so I can call the ambulance?" Boom, boom, boom. They're gonna give me their personal phone, one of their most personal devices. Give me their access to their phone. Why? Because they're in pain. When you're in pain, you're gonna trust people more to help you out of pain then you're gonna trust people to lead you out from pleasure. So the
mm.
market has a perspective of like the market now is more pain conscious, and a lot of people, a lot of marketers haven't shifted to that. They're so focused on pleasure, but they don't trust us to lead them through that. So our philosophy is that's how we're going to build, again, going back to trust. We're going to show you in our webinar what you're doing wrong because you're going to trust me more to show you what you're doing wrong than say, "Hey, I'm going to show you how to make 100,000. I'm going to show you how to make whatever." You're going to trust me to say, "Hey, this is where you're getting it wrong." Okay, I want to know that. So that's our first shift from the gate.
Mm.
Now, within that,
Can I just pause on that for a second?
yeah,
Because that's
yeah.
brilliant. That is really, really brilliant.
Thank you.
I love what you just reframed with the real estate example. Can
Yeah.
you give, like, 1 or 2 more examples? Because I feel like when I heard you say it at first,
Yeah.
I was a little skeptical, and then
Hmm.
when I heard you illustrate it, I was like, "Oh, that's dope." So, like,
Yes.
that's dope.
Yes.
So, can you give me, like, 1 or 2 examples of, like,
Absolutely.
maybe a webinar headline that you've rewrote
Yeah.
where you shifted it from pain or from pleasure to pain?
Absolutely. So one that I have often is 5 mistakes most people make when trying to have a six-figure day. So,
Mm.
now I'm not saying I'm gonna show you how to get a six-figure day. I'm saying this is the mistakes that people make when they try to have that. The other route I could have gone, how to have a six-figure day. Like, okay, well, I don't know you. Why should I trust you to show me that? But I can show you the mistakes because that's me. Here's we see this in speeches. People admire speakers that do a little bit of self-deprecation, right? That
Mm.
that they kind of share their weakness. I'm having to come to the webinar from a perspective of here's where I went wrong. I want to show you where to go right through me going wrong. And we've just noticed that that's a difference maker. People trust that more.
I
There's
love it. Well, no, it naturally would, right? Because it ties into vulnerability. That's
yes,
right. That's which is
yes,
one of the biggest drivers of trust in any
yes.
relationship.
Boom.
So, okay, all right, you clarified it for me. So keep
Awesome.
keep going with other
Aw
changes.
awesome. Well, I gotta hit you with something this because you're a Bible guy. I gotta tell you where I got this, right?
Yeah.
I got this from the Bible. Okay, so Jesus, I believe one of the greatest teachers of all time, he said, "Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, I'll give you rest." He's going after the pain market. He's not going. I didn't come here to save the righteous. I came to call those who think they are not. So that's where I learned this concept. I don't go after the people who think they got it together. I go after the people who know they are in pain and need help. That's
Mm.
the first component of this, right? So this whole process is what we call the parable presentation method.
Huh.
right? And I took this from the Bible. I want to give the source to properly source everything that where we start, where do we stem from. So that's the first component of this. I help people, with understanding the pain of the market, and it's usually either mistakes, pitfalls, downfalls, all of those things, problems, pains. Now, to answer your second part of the question of like, what are we seeing working that's different for us is our webinars are very storytelling based.
Mm.
Where did I get that from? Again, I said Jesus was one of the best teachers. He never taught a principle without a parable or a story. So when we teach a story in our webinar, we're and I only know this again from pain. I used to over teach in my webinars. I used to over educate because I'm naturally a teacher. I love to teach. And I would overwhelm people and they wouldn't buy the offer that I had. And then it was a shift. And I realized, you know what? This is the method I need to do. I need to teach through story. So I started teaching through story. Here's what we do in our framework. We teach in 3 elements because there's a skeptical person. So we teach so for example, if I'm doing 5 mistakes most people make when trying to have a 6-figure day, my mistake angle would be the first angle that I'm teaching from. So I'll teach a story with the mistake angle. And that mistake angle would be me, for example. I remember teaching this webinar. I was teaching and I did a really great job and everybody enjoyed what I shared. And by the end of it, I had 0 sales. My friend was like, "How'd you do?" I said, "Horrible." He's like, "Yeah, I know why. It's because you were over teaching." And it wasn't until after that I realized that I had a problem with thinking that teaching is one of the best ways to sell on a webinar, but it was actually a mistake. You've got to help people destroy limiting beliefs, and that's how you effectively sell on a webinar. So, boom, I just gave you an example. That's a mistake angle. I'm teaching through story that exact example. The next angle that I might go into success or principle. There's 3 angles. Mistake solves the skeptic. The problem, and we always like to start with that because majority of the market is skeptical. The second angle is actually success. So I'll use an example, and I usually have slides and show people exactly this. But the success angle might be, um, well, it wasn't until I got mentorship and got people to get around me to show me the value that I had, and I started to learn these frameworks on how to storytell. And one of the people I learned from was a gentleman named Myron Golden. And from there, I went from 0K days to 100K day. And then here's a picture of me and getting my award for getting $100,000 in a day. How did I do that? Through storytelling effectively. So I'm giving a very shortened version, but
Mhm.
that's the second angle. Success angles are for people that are motivated, ambitious. This is a percentage of the market, but it's not the most of the market is in that skeptical angle. But there's a percentage of people that need to see the proof. They need to see examples. They're motivated by that. And then the third is the last one is the principal angle. So I might use an example from I'll bring out a book and for the analytical, logical angle, I would show people something they can't refute, either from an authority, somebody that respect. So I'll say, well, the truth is that you can't teach a kid how to ride a bike in a seminar. So how can I teach you everything to know about webinars in a 1-hour webinar? It's a disservice for me to think that I can show you that. And I'll show the book. And I forgot the author's name on the top of my head, but he wrote a book called You Can't Teach a Kid How to Ride a Bike in a Seminar. This is a principle. So now when I break down the principle, I'm speaking to that logical person. I'm speaking to that analytical person that doesn't care about my proof. They don't care about my mistakes. They only care about data. So my webinar, throughout the whole webinar, I'm storytelling in those 3 kind of modes. I'm doing it for 5 mistakes, and I did 3 angles for each mistake: mistake, success, and principle. So the whole
Mm.
webinar, I'm destroying the limiting beliefs of 3 types of people. So by the time it's time to present the offer, I've destroyed every objection. I've destroyed every objection for every type of personality type. So that's essentially how this
That's
will
brilliant. That's brilliant. I love
Thank
that. So,
thanks, Joe.
okay, so here's where we are. We've got webinar to challenge. So,
Yes,
anyone listening to this, one of the things they could do and try would be to actually run webinars and sell VIP tickets to their challenge. I
that's
think
it.
that's brilliant.
Yes,
From there, they've really got to weave in more storytelling and hit all 3 types of people who are going
yes,
to be in their challenge, right?
that's right.
So tell me about the offer now. Let's talk
Yeah,
about the offer, right? So you've got people kind of pre-sold. You got them on the webinar, or you got them on the challenge
yep.
via webinar. You got them pre-sold. What is the offer? Like, what makes an offer win
Mm,
in a challenge, and because I've seen a lot of challenges win, and I've seen a lot of challenges flop, like you just
mhm.
described.
Yes. Okay, so we're talking about specifically the offer that I'm selling on the challenge, the high ticket
Yep.
offer. Okay. Cool. So for this process, what we like to do here is we're big on making sure we've addressed every single objection possible. We obliterate every single objection possible. So our process is we first get the desired dream that the person wants to achieve. So let's just use weight loss. I have that on the top of my head, right? So they want to get their weight in order, right? And I'm going to actually use one of my. I have a coach in the weight, and I'm using this example because it's actually an offer that I bought, and whether he realizes it or not, he had all these kind of things in his offer. So I spent 10K to buy his offer, right? And what is unique when you have an offer is that you want to make sure the offer handles every objection. I don't like to meal plan. I don't want to have like what do I do for meal planning? Am I going to have to work out like crazy? Am I going to have to be on a strict diet? Is this going to be something that I'm just going to dread my lifestyle? I'll get the result, but I'll dread the lifestyle. I won't be having enough fun. I'm going on vacation and all these things. In the offer, every single objection is addressed. So in his offer, per se, as an example, hey, we use walking. Walking is our major way of fitness. Well, walking? Why do I want to? I can lose the weight by walking. Okay, that's counterintuitive. I'm not going to have to do a bunch of meal planning. I'm just going to stay away from certain things, and I'm going to be able to do things in certain moderation. He's not telling you all this in the offer, by the way. I'm just showing you by an example. Okay, so now let me take you out into my process. So I find out everything that person wants. They want to lose the weight. They want to be in shape. They want to feel great. They want all these things. What is every single possible obstacle that will get them from losing weight? Um, then we write out all the solutions to those things, right? So eat right, work out, all these things. Then here's the last component that we do. This is completely different from anybody I've ever seen is we put IP on each and everything. So, you know what? I think there's a way for me to show this, right? Because I think people won't understand unless I show it. So is that okay,
Yeah,
Rich, if I show an
absolutely.
example?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna show an actual offer that we have that we sell consistently. And the one of the reasons, not the only reason why the offer works, but it is a core reason why the offer works. And it's called I'm gonna just move this here just a second. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen because this will be helpful for those who either watch or listen to this. Okay, share screen, and we'll do this tab here. It's to profit. There it is. Okay, here we go. Okay. So this is one of our offers on our coaching side. Okay. So again, know that I've done all the work on the strategic side to know what all the problems are, right? And when I present an offer on a challenge, this is literally an offer that I would present on the challenge. I'm not presenting like I don't have to handle a lot of objections because the challenge has destroyed a lot of the objections. But when I present the offer, so right here, easy technology system. Most people would do is they would call this GHL account that you get access to, not us. Easy technology system is the IP, intellectual property. This right here, six-figure webinar success system. Most people will call this webinar process. Very, very, very generic. They don't think about it. But every single component in the offer is not a course, even if it is a course. We never say course. If it's a guide or if it's something like course is such a degraded term today, right? Like people don't even look at the value of a course. So what people would want are systems, proven frameworks, methodologies. So you notice in my offer, this is easy technology, and it's not deceiving people. What it is I'm helping them realize these are systems you're going to get from our offer. You're going to leave with a process that's proven. So I'll share, hey, the easy technology system, the six-figure webinar success system, and I'll explain what's in that system. The KSM challenge model is the same model we've been able to use to help our clients have six-figure days, right? What is that? The premium program offer system is our framework for creating offers. The KSM coaching framework, it's you kind of the parable presentation method, which I just shared with you guys, a framework for producing webinars that produce a high level of result. So when I sell the offer, note all of these things I've already thought about. they struggle with technology. They say, "Man, I don't I'd love to do this, but technology is hard for me. Oh, I'd love to do this, but I don't have a proven framework for webinars. Oh, I love to." Oh, here's one of my favorite ones under here. Camera confidence system. I don't wanna be on camera. I don't wanna show up on Facebook and social media. KSM camera confidence. We thought about every objection they would have. So, that's what I would say. I know I kinda went a little deep there, but that's what we do to make sure the offer nails for people.
I love that. So basically, when you guys are designing an offer, you're figuring out everything the ideal client wants.
Mhm,
You're figuring out the obstacles that keep them from getting to what they want. And
mhm.
then you're designing systems with IP around it, IP naming
Yes.
that solve those objections, right? That
There it is.
that remove those obstacles. Dude, that's actually fascinatingly close to what I taught in Punta Cana, if you remember,
Wow,
the starting with the obstacles. You
that's
remember?
right, that's right,
Yeah.
that's right.
So I love that. You're
Crazy.
you're actually doing that on multiple fronts. It's almost like Charlie Munger's famous like inversion technique, if you're
Mhm,
familiar, right? Where
yeah,
it's like if you want something, just invert it. Where basically you go, what's everything I would have to do to make sure I don't get that?
that's
And then you list all those things and you invert them. You do the opposite of them. So in a
that's perfect.
way, it's maybe not the exact same thing, but both with
Mhm.
the pain side, you're doing that. You're figuring out
Right,
what their pain is instead of the pleasure, and you're
right,
doing that with the actual offer building. I love that.
yes, sir.
I love that. Well,
Right.
dude, this has been fascinating already. People got it now. They know how to fill their challenge with webinars. They know how to build a great webinar and story sell throughout it. They know how to approach the offer building. If somebody is listening to this and they're like, they're basically going, yeah, but
Mhm,
what would you say to them? Like with all the data you've got on
mhm.
people's own objections or why the mistakes they're making, why it doesn't work. What would you say to them as we start to bring this plane down to land? What would you encourage them? What would you say to them? What kind of final thoughts would you have for them to encourage them to take action on this?
Yeah. So, I just wanna start with some examples of people, right? Because I think sometimes we just need to see stories or examples of this in action. Our very first client who had a six-figure day had 16 people on his challenge. I know all of those listening to here can get more than 16 people to one challenge. 16 people never had an offer at the price. He had a 25K offer and sold 4 of them. Okay, sorry, 27K offer and sold 4 of them on a 16-person challenge. One of our other clients had his first excuse me, his first challenge he had using the model that I'm sharing with you. His first challenge, he had 8 people and he had $50,000 made on his first challenge, not even knowing what he was doing. His next one, he had 150,000 made with 21 people and they bought a 25K offer, right? So here's it's not about the person. So I just want to get the person out of their head. It's not about the person. The whole thing is about trust. And if you can show the trust, your job is to just be the expert you are and allow the trust to build. The process creates the trust faster so people can if you're authentic, if you're real, you know what you're doing, you're not selling. Most of our clients are not hardcore selling. All they're doing is presenting their expertise on display and the market evaluates. I can't force anybody to buy anything anyway. None of us can. Anybody tells, "Oh, I closed my soul." No, you had to convey a level of trust. There's no transfer of money without a transfer of trust. That's the only way money gets transferred is through trust. So that's what I would say to that person. They say, and but here's the kicker. Now I gave you those two examples, but let me give you a third one. And Vance doesn't mind me saying this. Vance, some years back, came to us, and Vance doesn't have a 10th grade level education. We helped frame his webinar in a storytelling format. He did $412,000 in one day. Never done a webinar before. And he had a 2K product. So that's from $2,000 sales. And the reality is he was just willing to tell his story, be vulnerable. He shared his very like what Richard shared from the very beginning. He was very vulnerable about his journey, about his path, and people resonated with that. That's the willingness you got to have. All the tech stuff, all the other stuff, that's all figure outable. The piece that you really need to focus on is being the person that's willing to share your value with the market and be willing to trust the process of trust.
Mm. Well said, man. Well said. Well, I think if those stories don't motivate somebody to do this, nothing else will. So,
Yes.
well done, sir. You just ate your own cooking right there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know, I'm a storyteller. Yes,
I love
sir.
it. I love it, man. Well, hey, this has been an amazing episode. David, if somebody wants to learn more about you or work with you on their webinar or challenge,
Yeah.
where would they go? Where should they reach out to you so they can get more info?
Yeah. If they want to learn more, a great place to start is donetogetherwebinars.com. Done Together Web, just like it sounds like, Done Together Webinars. And me and my team will connect with you, see how we could serve.
Love that. Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for being here. Reach out to David, consume all his content. He's also very fun on social media. So
Thank you.
follow him around the internet, and we'll see you on the next episode.